Big had a gifted talent that saved a lot of people's lives, but his.
Our music is ours.
What's up, everyone? Today I want to talk to you about the Netflix documentary Biggie, I Got a Story to Tell, released on March 1st. I love documentaries, especially music ones, so when I saw Wendy Williams promoting this doc on her show, I knew I had to see it. My thoughts after watching it is that the documentary was good, but I get the feeling that if you're a die-hard Biggie fan, then you probably wouldn't have learned anything new. I understand Big's impact, but didn't know much about his life. So for me, the documentary was insightful. I especially enjoyed learning how jazz influenced his sound, which is something I would have never guessed. His connection to jazz is interesting because Kendrick Lamar and Nas are both other rappers who are considered to be GOATs who are also highly influenced by jazz. Now, what would be new for most is the footage recorded by Big's longtime friend D-Rock. They were vlogging before the term was even invented. D-Rock even describes it as a visual diary, but it became so much more than that when Biggie started having D record the audience during his performances so he could see which songs fans liked the most. He used live shows in the same way artists nowadays use data from streaming services to make decisions. It was also great to see Big's family members included, such as his mom, grandma, and Uncle Dave. There were so many other little things that I didn't know, like his old rap name being MC Quest and how he liked to draw and wanted to do commercial art. Moving forward, let's talk about some of the themes that stood out to me. One of the main points I got from the documentary is Biggie's duality, which shouldn't be a surprise given he's a Gemini. It seems like Big was someone who was constantly in between two worlds. He's both Jamaican and American. He grew up literally traversing between those two places. He's American, but experienced the othering that came from being a child of an immigrant. Big's rap skills are a combination of both worlds. He was influenced by his Uncle Dave, a reggae singer, and, as Mr. C discussed, the Jamaican practice of chatting on the mic or toasting. But Big also had American influences like the Fat Boys, Run DMC, and Big Daddy Kane. Musically, another element that adds to his duality is him being a rapper, but not listening to rap. He loved R&B.
Every time I close my eyes.
And grew up going to sleep to country western music, which his friends said that they couldn't believe. Big's dualism extends to his personality. He was shy and quiet but exuded confidence while on stage. Another example of his duality is Big coming from this good home but choosing to run the streets when he didn't have to. Then when he's on the cusp of breaking in the rap world, he's caught between hustling and rap. And at the time of his death, he's in the battle of East versus West Coast. It seems like just as Big was trying to pick a world and color inside the lines, he died. The documentary did a good job of showcasing Big's multidimensionality. Another takeaway is the power of good influences. Throughout Biggie's life, it seems like there were people outside of his mother who invested in him. First, you have jazz musician Donald Harrison, who mentored Biggie by introducing him to jazz and tried to show Big that there was a world much bigger than his immediate environment. Though Big's friend Oli wasn't the best influence, when Big was at the crossroads of rap and drugs, he was one of the people pushing Big to focus on rap. Big's manager Mark Pitts was another positive force. In the doc, Mark said he was doing anything he could, like booking small shows to keep Big on the straight and narrow. Yes, that's what a manager's supposed to do, but Mark's interest seemed like it was beyond money. Producer Easy Mo B also discussed how he would take Big and his friends for rides just to get them off the streets, and hoped to one day create something that would transform Big's life. The documentary also did a good job showing Big's importance to New York. Though I'm aware of all the amazing West Coast talent of the late 80s and 90s, the documentary put it into perspective just how much the West Coast was ahead of New York, and how Biggie gave the East Coast someone to believe in. I enjoyed the documentary's focus on Miss Wallace, which makes sense given how important she was to Big. The doc showed Miss Wallace as a strong and determined woman. She left Jamaica in her teens in search for a better life. She got to the US and became a young single mother. To many, this would have halted their plans, but to her, it was just a small bump in the road. She allowed that situation to fuel her to be better, working during the day and going to school at night to become a teacher and provide for her son comfortably. I also liked how she didn't sugarcoat anything.
Disrespected my house.
While there's a lot to like about the documentary, I found it hard to watch at times. I wish it was more chronological. I feel like it could have been more cohesive by telling the story of Miss Wallace and then segueing into discussing Big. However, I will say I like how they mirrored Big's life with his mother's during the part where they talk about his daughter. Also, more emphasis could have been placed on his writing and how he developed himself as an MC, especially during his childhood. What was he rapping about? How did he get so good? What motivated him to be great? They touched on it but didn't go in depth. I also would have liked to have seen them talk more about the intricacies of Big's professional rap career. They didn't really spell out him being signed to Uptown, or at least that wasn't clear to me. They could have given more details as to what he was doing in between him being dropped from Uptown and Diddy creating Bad Boy. I like that Diddy owned up to the fact that he wasn't really doing much to help Big out in that time frame. The Biggie versus Tupac beef wasn't emphasized the way that it should have been. These two people are inextricably linked. You can't talk about one without the other. They're like peanut butter and jelly, white on rice. They might not have been the first rap artists to beef, but they laid the foundation for other massive beefs to come, like Nas versus Jay-Z and 50 Cent versus Kanye West. Biggie and Tupac showed how dangerous beef could be, but also its profitability and how it could help both sides' careers grow. I don't like how they talk about Big's life transcending death, but in the documentary with his death. It would have been nice to see some of his successful peers talk about his influence on them and his legacy. Lil' Kim should have been included given that they grew up together. I also wish Big's kids were a part of it. I know that they didn't really get to spend much time with him, but they could still speak to the post-mortem impact of his life. One other thing that I think would have been interesting for them to touch on is the power of the tongue. I like the conceptual aspect of Ready to Die, but did anyone in his crew think that this might not be a good idea? I can't help but think of how we've seen tons of examples of how rap can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. These are my thoughts on Biggie. I got a story to tell. Did you watch it? What did you like? What didn't you like about it? Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.